No one expected that it would rain for a whole year. After 20 days of scorching hot weather, it poured rain heavily for a whole day and night. The crowd sheltering from the rain at the supermarket entrance is in high spirits. Some even dove headfirst into the rainwater, fully enjoying the rare coolness. I walked out of the supermarket with a bag of pork, frowned at the pouring rain outside. I don't dislike rain, it's just been so hot lately that I'm feeling really cranky. Rain would be nice, but I have a fear of it. 3 years ago, I drove into a lake on a rainy night, almost drowning. If the car window hadn't shattered, I wouldn't have survived. After that, I developed a psychological fear of water. I even get scared when I see rain. I took out my phone to check the weather forecast. Starting from today, the temperature will gradually decrease. The scorching 43.5 degrees are gone, replaced by a comfortable temperature around 33 degrees. This is a good thing, but it will be followed by continuous rainfall. It will rain continuously for the next week, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, mostly light to moderate rain. I sighed and went back to the supermarket to stock up. I didn't buy much when it was hot before, but now it's been raining constantly and I don't feel like going out. So I'm stocking up enough food to make sure I don't have to go out for a week. 10 boxes of steaks, 12 pounds of frozen chicken wings, 3 bags of noodles, and 4 bags of bread. These are all my favorite foods. I also bought a big bag of tomatoes and sweet potatoes, as well as a box of oatmeal and a box of instant noodles. With these, I should be able to eat for a week. And if I'm thrifty, it might last me a month. I bought the supplies, took a taxi back home. I live in a mid-range neighborhood, in a 90 square meter apartment on the 3rd floor. After bringing the goods back home, it seems to be raining even harder. The rain is pounding on the windows, sounding like it could shatter them at any moment. The outside looks grey and white. People who were celebrating in the rain probably all went home to avoid getting wet. I closed the curtains and called my parents. They live in a rural area, and heavy rain is affecting them too. Shia, be careful. It's pouring rain heavily and getting worse, with strong momentum. My dad reminded me on the phone. He hasn't seen such heavy rain in many years. Dad, you guys should be careful and stay safe. I will be fine here, and I won't go out recently. Please don't work in the fields. I am reminding my dad in return. My dad quickly agreed and then told me, if it floods, run to higher ground, all the way to the roof. He knows I'm scared of rain, so he's being extra cautious. I felt like laughing, nodded in agreement, then hung up the phone and took a hot bath. I fell into a deep sleep and woke up the next day to find it was already dawn. Outside the window, the wind and rain were still raging, with countless raindrops pounding on the window like stones. It was still raining heavily. Normally, a heavy rain shower doesn't last long, sometimes just for about half an hour. The weather forecast mentioned that today's rainfall is expected in the evening, so it's strange that there is a heavy rain shower early in the morning. When I pulled back the curtains to look outside, I found that I couldn't see the appearance of the neighborhood clearly. There was so much mist that even the lights from the building across the street were blurred and unclear. It's raining heavily. The property management just posted a notice in the group chat saying, "Dear owners, the Meteorological Bureau has issued a red alert for heavy rainfall. Please try to stay indoors as much as possible. Make sure to close all doors and windows to prevent any unnecessary losses." A red rainstorm warning means that rainfall is expected to exceed 100 millimeters in the next 3 hours. This amount of rainfall is really extreme. The government department must be prepared for emergency rescue work in heavy rain. All outdoor operations must stop. Although the atmosphere in the group is lively, everyone is not panicking. Some people even joke, "Let it rain a few more days. It's cool." The rain continued until the next day, causing the homeowners to lose their spirits. It's unbelievable that it has been raining this heavily since the day before yesterday. The 3rd floor of the garage is about to be flooded. Whoever has their car on the 3rd floor, please move it quickly. We can't go buy groceries today. If the rain doesn't stop soon, we won't have any food at home. I didn't join the discussion. I just went to check the windows, made sure they were locked before feeling at ease. Since I stocked up on a lot of groceries, I wasn't worried about food for now. I didn't believe it would last for a week, but it actually did. Every morning when I wake up, I find that the rain hasn't stopped, and it hasn't weakened. It's still at the highest level of red alert. My window is shaking, and rainwater is seeping in through the gaps. It's really scary. My parents have called me multiple times asking about my safety, and I can only reassure them that everything is fine. I actually feel very bad. It has been raining non-stop for 7 days in our city, and we have become a hot topic online. However, other cities are also trending because they are all experiencing continuous rain just like us. Our city is just one of the lucky ones. I intentionally looked up some information and found that there are ongoing heavy rains in parts of Europe, Southeast Asia, North America, and other regions. It's really unusual. When I was studying, I researched about the history of mass extinctions. I vividly remember that the Earth experienced a 2-million-year reign, leading to a major ecological shift and the rise of the dinosaurs. I'm already scared of the rain. My mind is full of thoughts. I can't help but associate this rain with the one that has been falling for 200 million years. Take another look at the group chat. The residents are already helping each other out. Those with potatoes can exchange for instant noodles, and those with pork can swap for vegetables. I still have plenty of supplies, since I haven't been eating much these days, as not cooking much either. There is a lot of meat in the refrigerator, so I can easily last another week without any issues. If it rains for another week, our city will almost come to a standstill. I went to the window to check the situation outside, but it's still unclear. I can't even see the artificial water reservoir anymore. The property management has issued an urgent notice in the group chat, requesting all first-floor unit owners to promptly relocate their furniture and belongings. Currently, the neighborhood is flooded over a large area, and there's a high chance that the rainwater could reach the first floor. As soon as this announcement was made, everyone was shocked. The ground floor is probably flooded, and the underground parking lot must have turned into a reservoir. Our neighborhood may not be located in a high area, but it shouldn't get flooded, right? It seems unlikely. If the whole neighborhood gets flooded, it means that anywhere can get flooded after a week of heavy rain. I just called the fire department, but couldn't get through. Everything is in chaos. I heard the east side of the city has turned into a sea. I'm afraid the Yangtze River might have burst its banks. Everyone is panicking, and I am feeling anxious too. My fear of water is beyond comparison to others. I am afraid that the rain will flood my third floor. Then I will be like a sitting duck, experiencing the fear brought by water again. After receiving the urgent notice from the property management, I couldn't calm down. I have enough food for a while, but I'm really afraid of flooding on the third floor. I remembered my dad's advice to run to the rooftop if there is flooding. Maybe the psychological impact from before is just too heavy, as I actually ended up running to the rooftop. Our building has a total of 31 floors. I took the elevator and reached the top floor, and I glanced at the 6 apartments here. 6 houses were sold, leaving only 1 vacant. However, an iron gate has been installed at the entrance, but the renovation permit has not been posted on the gate yet. I tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge, so I had to go back up to the 3rd floor. I hope the rain stops soon. I didn't sleep well this night, feeling sleepy all the time. In my mind, I keep imagining being trapped in a car filling up with water, then being swallowed by a flood. I woke up in fear at 7 o'clock, but was surprised to find that there was no sound of rain. It was still dark outside, but the rain had stopped. I was thrilled and quickly went to open the window to check. You can vaguely see the whole residential area flooded with water, and the man-made pond is filled with rainwater. Many homeowners on the 1st floor are draining water to prevent flooding at home. Complaints can be heard everywhere, and the group chat is lively. The homeowners survived the ordeal. Some are already getting ready to go shopping with the saved water. Now that the disaster is over, I'm not going downstairs because I'm afraid of the water. I'm keeping an eye on the local weather bureau's notice, which says the heavy rain has stopped and the government is carrying out rescue operations. Everyone should be alert to post-disaster prevention and avoid approaching utility poles and other areas. I thought I could relax, but then I checked online and found out that it's still raining in many parts of the country, even in places that don't usually get much rain. I got so nervous watching the international news. The capital of India is facing its worst rainstorm in a century, and many slums have been flooded. The New York subway was flooded and experienced the deadliest accident in 30 years. Researchers at the British Antarctic Research Station have found that places like Wilkes Land are experiencing hailstorms, which have lasted for 3 days. This news has a strong apocalyptic vibe. I furrowed my brow and looked at the sky outside. All I could see was white. Can't tell if the rain has really stopped or it's just taking a breather. In the evening, order was restored in our community. The supermarket reopened. The rain didn't come, but the sky still seemed heavy to me. My fear of rain made me overthink things. I couldn't help but think of that 2 million-year rain. After a moment of contemplation, I put on my rain boots and hurried to the supermarket. The supermarket is crowded, but most of the people are kids, which means no one is deliberately hoarding goods. Everyone still prefers to go to the market to buy groceries. They think the rain has stopped just like that. I stopped procrastinating and started stockpiling for real. Hundreds of bags of chicken wings and legs, 50 packs of sausages, 30 boxes of biscuits, 20 bags of bread, and 2 cases of bottled water. Besides, I also bought items like flashlight, batteries, power bank, etc. to prepare for power outage. The supermarket staff were all shocked. I ignored it and made trips to move everything back to my room. This way, I can live frugally and can eat for 2 to 3 months without any problem. I also have a big bag of rice at home, so I can sustain for a long time even if there is a power outage. Later, I went to the pharmacy to buy various medicines such as Banlangen, ibuprofen, aspirin, povidone iodine, and Zisimin. This way, I am prepared for any fever or diarrhea. Can be treated. Of course, this still doesn't give me enough sense of security. I'm most afraid of flooding, and the 3rd floor is too low. I already have an idea. I've been in touch with someone in the building's owner's group. He bought a house in this building, but has been living out of town. He only comes back every 2 or 3 years. His apartment is on the 31st floor, room 3102, and it's been rented out for a long time. He himself has also posted rental messages in the group several times, asking us to help find tenants. I directly told him that I found a client, and asked for a 200 renminbi red envelope as my commission. He was very happy and offered 3,500 renminbi per month for a minimum lease of 3 months. He said the property management will give me the key. We exchanged money and key smoothly, and indeed, a staff from property management gave me the key. I started moving my things, going up and down multiple times, and finally moved all my belongings to room 3102. On the way, I met several homeowners who asked me what I was doing. I said I was exchanging supplies for money with my upstairs neighbors, and they didn't ask any more questions. I finally finished moving at 9 p.m. I was exhausted, but I managed to check all the doors and windows to make sure they were securely locked. This way, I huddled on the 31st floor, feeling secure surrounded by a room full of supplies, finally able to relax. The constant pitter-patter of rain sounded like beads fiercely hitting the windows. I was startled and looked out the window, seeing endless rain pouring down like the devil's tentacles reaching towards the earth. It's raining again, this time even even more intensely, a heavy downpour. Even though I've taken all precautions, I still feel inexplicably nervous. The whole neighborhood is in chaos, with owners who were just downstairs now rushing back home hastily. People are like struggling ants in the pouring rain. The property management released a notice promptly, advising everyone to stay indoors, lock doors and windows. Some homeowners are complaining in the group chat. It's raining again. Didn't the weather forecast say it wouldn't rain anymore? I just bought some meat and rushed back home. Now I can't find it anywhere. The water in the garage hasn't drained yet. It's raining again. Oh no. Our neighborhood's garage is flooded badly. It was supposed to stop raining today, and the management was working overtime to drain the water. But now, there is heavy rain again. If this downpour continues for just one day, the ground floor might be submerged. As expected, the heavy rain lasted until 2 a.m., and amidst the loud rain, I could hear people shouting downstairs, faint but still audible over the rain. It was coming from the first floor, and I could hear it from the 31st floor, showing how many residents were shouting. The first floor must be flooded for sure, as the sounds in the hallway were also very loud. It seems like the first floor residents are running upstairs. More sound started coming from each floor. The residents on the 31st floor were opening their doors one after another. I heard a neighbor urgently saying to go down quickly and help out, to prevent anyone from drowning. They are undoubtedly kind-hearted, but I couldn't do it because I am afraid of water. I don't want to go down to touch the water. The rescue operation in this building has started. Some high-rise owners voluntarily help out. Some are rescuing valuable furniture, and some are letting lower floor residents come to their homes for warmth. The community is bustling with mutual assistance and everyone is helping each other. I am following news from all over the country. Currently, the comments on Weibo are very explosive because it is raining in most cities across the country. In my city, like Yuqing, it has been stopping and raining repeatedly. The top hot search is about experts predicting nationwide heavy rain, which may cause a rare central-level flood in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River. Furthermore, there is a lot of news coming from Beijing and Shanghai as well. For example, in Shanghai Pudong Airport has been completely flooded. The Yangtze River estuary is experiencing severe flooding, with widespread paralysis in Baoshan and other areas. The situation in the capital is also worrying. The drainage system is completely defunct, and half of the city is submerged in rainwater. This news is chilling. Initially, our city of Yuqing was trending at the top, but now Yuqing is no longer relevant. This means that the heavy rainfall is causing major flooding in big cities in the country. The authorities are too busy with the situation to focus on our city. I feel extremely anxious, not just because of my fear of water, but also due to the catastrophic news coming from all over the country. I thought about the rain that lasted for 200 million years again. The current heavy rain is definitely abnormal, and it can't be explained by common sense. This could be a mass extinction event. I quickly searched online for relevant information, focusing on two aspects. Firstly, what would happen if it keeps raining continuously for 1 month, 3 months, or even 1 or 2 years? Secondly, how can I save myself in such situations? After searching for a while, I couldn't find detailed ways to save myself. It seems that the only solution is to hide in high places. If the rain continues to fall, the consequences will be extremely severe. In about 2 weeks, the electricity supply will be affected, possibly leading to power outages and internet disruptions. Moreover, numerous people may fall ill due to the damp conditions. Low-lying areas will be submerged in about a month, leading to widespread floods and landslides in various areas. 2 months later, a small-scale famine began, with people starving everywhere. For months later, an infectious disease started spreading, and 6 months later, there was a massive die-off of wildlife and plants. Low-lying areas will be submerged, and in a year, apart from high-altitude areas and mountains, we might not see any land on Earth. It's so scary. I can't stop overthinking. What if the rain keeps pouring for months or even a year? What about my parents? I need to call them right away. Luckily, we still have signal. My dad is really worried. Trey, the sky doesn't look normal. I think we should climb up the mountain. Our Liang mountain is over 2,000 meters high. There are caves to hide in. My dad is usually laid back, but this time he actually wants to go up to the mountain top. He is really scared. Maybe the village is flooded. I am extremely worried. 2 days ago, there was a flood, and a mudslide hit half of the village. Many people died. My dad sounded emotional, almost in tears. I'm really worried. You should have told me earlier. I was worried about you. Things are not going well on your end either. I saw the news. Many residential areas in your city are flooded. You should hurry to a high-rise building. My dad keeps thinking about this. I told him I already live on the 31st floor. Gather the villagers, bring food and drinks, and quickly hide on Mount Liang. My dad said okay. Another suggestion was made. Yeshio, you should also find a chance to come to Liangshan. The tallest mountain in our city of Yuqing won't be flooded no matter what. This idea really caught my eye. Yeah, why am I being so clueless? If I join the Liangshan gang, I can just hide in the mountain cave, even if there's a flood, at 2,000 meters above sea level. It won't reach me. Moreover, Liangshan is a scenic spot with stairs leading up the mountain, buildings on the mountaintop and slopes, making it perfect for hiding. But I can't leave now. Everywhere is flooded and it's impossible to leave without a boat. Also, my building is 31 floors high with over 100 meters. It would be quite difficult for the water to reach the 31st floor unless it really rains for several months. I reassured my dad and told him I'm fine for now. If there's a chance, I'll also go to Liangshan. After hanging up the phone, I feel mentally exhausted from excessive worry and fear. I cooked something to eat, filled my stomach, took a hot shower, shower, got into bed. Tonight is going to be a sleepless night. The building was bustling with noise, making me feel uneasy. I managed to fall asleep to the chaotic sounds, only to be awakened by a nightmare the next day. As I perked up my ears, I could hear the raging sound of the rain, as if it was the roar of the heavens. Accompanied by the howling wind came the rattling of the windows. The noise on the floor has quieted down. I think everyone is exhausted. People from lower floors have gone to the higher floors to rest. I walked out of the living room and was surprised to see a layer of water on the floor. Water is leaking from a corner of the ceiling and rain is seeping in through the window cracks. That's the downside of living on the top floor. With this heavy rain, it's hard for even the top floor not to leak. Luckily, this house has good drainage, so rainwater won't accumulate too much. It's just frustrating to look at, and it can be a bit annoying. I moved all the food into the bedroom to keep it from getting wet. I can't do anything about the living room, and I can't control it. The group is in chaos. I'm starving. Anyone have food to sell? I'm willing to pay a high price. My rice at home got all wet. Oh my goodness. My house worth over 2 million yuan got flooded like this. Thank you to my upstairs neighbor for taking in my family. Panic and sadness are spreading in the group chat, but everyone is still helping each other and waiting for rescue. I see them caring for each other, but I can't help feeling a little worried. Will people still love each other if it rains heavily for 1, 2, or 3 months? With food shortage and damp houses, people getting sick, the whole building might become a hell by then. I admit it's selfish and unethical, but I'm really scared. I'm afraid of the dark side of human nature exploding, so I ran out of the living room again, stepped on the rainwater to check if the door was locked, and then I pushed the shoe cabinet and furniture to the door, trying to block it with all my might. I want to make sure I am absolutely safe. With this big iron gate separating me from the outside, I wouldn't even be afraid if there were zombies surrounding the city. If someone knocks on my door, I'll just pretend to be dead. After all, no one has ever lived in this house before. It's been 3 days in a row, and even when the power went out, no one knocked on the door. Although many people have come to the 31st floor, they have all taken shelter in other people's homes, and the downpour is getting heavier. The red weather alert is no longer enough to describe it. The property management office seems to have been flooded, and there is no response from them. I heard cries outside my house after having lunch. The 2nd and 3rd floors are completely flooded. My home. It's so scary. I can see the 4th floor is also about to be flooded, judging by the water current. For sure the government offices in the city center are flooded too. A sense of despair is spreading, even faster than the rainwater. It's been another 3 days, and it has been raining for half a month. Except for the day when I stocked up, it has been raining the entire time. I'm hiding in the bedroom, afraid to go out. The living room is flooded. The drainage system can't handle it anymore, and soon the bedroom will be soaked too. I'm using a power bank to charge my phone. I am using data to check the latest news online. Due to nationwide rainfall, various regions are experiencing paralysis. Most of the online news is being provided by netizens from different places. Chengdu is calling for help. The entire basin is about to be flooded. Guangzhou is requesting assistance as the Pearl River has breached its banks. I am in the United States, where hurricanes and tsunamis have engulfed the west coast. Can I seek help from the embassy? I nervously swallowed, my fingers trembling. This might be a mass extinction event for all living creatures. It's clear now, half a month of continuous heavy rain has pushed the world to the brink, and this is just the beginning. Even if the rain stops now, the death toll could reach millions, and if it continues, it will only skyrocket. As the famine struck and bodies started to decay, outbreaks of infectious diseases began. I was contemplating checking for updates when I realized the page wouldn't refresh. My heart sank as I realized the network was gone for good. With power and internet out, we were all left struggling like helpless creatures on a deserted island. Suddenly there came a howl from outside the door. Oh my god, what's that over there? A tsunami! Tsunami! The flood is coming. Run! People also saw it and shouted in a panic. They are on the 31st floor hallway, looking out the window from their position. I saw it in the north. The terrain there is much higher, with towering mountains and rivers. I immediately realized it was a flash flood from the mountains in the north causing a tsunami on land. Our city's tall buildings will face the terrifying impact of the flash flood. The flood is coming, rushing from the high terrain in the north and into the city area in the south. I can't see the flood inside the house, but I can hear the roaring sound of the raging water. It sounds like a thunderous roar, accompanied by the cracking of buildings along the way, getting closer and closer. It's like an ancient giant beast charging, sending shivers down my spine. Oh no, will this building be washed away? Even if it holds up, the whole building will probably be severely damaged. The destructive power of the flood is no less than an earthquake. I ran back into the bedroom, closed the door tightly, and then crawled under the bed. I only know how to hide from earthquakes, not floods, so my instinctive reaction was to hide under the bed, which should be effective. If the walls collapse from the flood, the bed can help cushion me. As for other ways, I can't think of any. All I can do is pray that the building can withstand the flood. The howling outside the door is getting closer, along with the sound of chaotic footsteps and shouting. Hurry up, the floodwater is too high. Go to the rooftop. Everyone should not hide on the lower floors. Run to the 20th floor or above. Hiding inside the house is useless. You must go to higher floors. Some smart people are rushing upstairs, which also indicates how high the flood is. The flood in the north is as devastating as a tsunami. It will engulf everything along its way. The whole Jade City will be submerged, and our building will not just be on the 5th floor. Those on the lower floors will be in grave danger. I clench my teeth, my lips trembling, hands gripping the bed corners tightly, sweat dripping down my body, and the painful memories from 3 years ago seem to come back to haunt me. On a stormy night with ice-cold lake water and shattered glass. I even had hallucinations. My mind went blank, and suddenly there was a loud bang. It felt like a huge hammer hit me on the back, causing me to slide forward half of my body. My head bumped against the wall, and I felt dizzy with countless impacts. The building seemed to have turned into seaside rocks, with waves of giant waves crashing against it. In the huge waves, there is muddy water turning yellow, scattered buildings, floating bodies. The flood has arrived, with continuous screams outside. Many residents on the corridor have been hit by the flood, not knowing where they have been swept away to. They are moving too slowly, maybe coming up from the lower floors, and unable to make it into someone else's home in time. Amid countless cries, the building trembles violently. I heard the creaking of the walls, a lot of plaster falling off, numerous cracks appearing. It seems like the ceiling in the living room has burst. Clinging to the corner of the wall in extreme terror, I smelled a foul stench of mud. The flood has surged up to the 31st floor. My house is filled with yellowish floodwater, mixed with various rotten smells. I thought I was done for. The floodwaters rose so high, reaching up to the 31st floor. I thought I would surely be submerged, but thankfully, fate was not so cruel to me. Despite the waves crashing in, the towering deluge did not sweep over. In other words, the flood didn't submerge the 31st floor. It may have engulfed up to the 20th floor, with its tail brushing against the 31st floor. I let out a sigh of relief, but before I could relax, there was a loud bang that shook the entire building. I could clearly feel myself sliding to the right as the whole building started tilting. Undoubtedly, it must be the flood that hit the structure, causing damage to the support pillars on the right side, or perhaps creating a big hole. Whatever the case, the leaning of the building clearly indicates that it's unsafe now. Hiding on the 31st floor is no use, as the flood will eventually wash away the building. The screams of terror continue non-stop. I hear a neighbor's woman shouting for help, saying the building is collapsing. The cries for help are chilling, and I am too terrified to move. I was already scared of water, and now facing the flood, along with the possibility of collapsing buildings. Fear has consumed me. I can only hide under the bed like an ostrich. I heard a muffled sound coming from the bedroom ceiling, as if the steel and concrete were cracking. It must be the building leaning and pressing on the ceiling. I'm so unlucky. The ceiling above me is about to collapse. In the next moment, there was a cracking sound, and several pieces of debris fell down.